everyone, welcome to the Diamond Daily Episode 6. I'm your host, ESVDiamond. This video is sponsored by Alienware. Make sure and visit them at www.alienware.com. They've been a great sponsor for Stellar Lotus, and we're super excited to have them as one of our sponsors. Today we're going to be talking about the new scoreboard in Heroes of the Storm. This has been quite a ongoing debate since it was announced. It's been debated on Reddit. People are very, very upset about this. And I don't actually understand why, so I'm going to talk a little bit why I think these are good changes for the Heroes of the Storm scoreboard. For those that don't know, I am a Masters level player on Hot Slogs. I play with pros all the time. I play at the high level. Not so much recently as much. I've been pretty busy with business stuff, but I understand this game at a decent level. And once I came to understand the game more and more, I quickly realized the scoreboard in its current form was almost entirely useless. Really, the only stats that mattered at all were hero damage and siege damage. You could argue deaths mattered a little bit, but I didn't want to focus on deaths when I played. Even if somebody died a bunch, I was never like, oh my god, you died 5 times. It didn't matter to me. What mattered was the experience. What mattered is we were outputting damage. And even with hero and siege damage, they're a little bit misleading, and you'll often find people with DOTs, like Stitches, or consistent tiny damage like a Nuvarox Beetles to have an abnormally high hero damage level. But the other stats, takedowns, XP gained, those were totally useless. The very first thing I always did when I got into a game of Heroes of the Storm, and still do currently, is I hit tab, I look to see if I recognize any of the players. If I don't, or even if I do, I immediately hit the Show Talents button and probably never change it back because none of the info in the scoreboard, aside for sometimes hero damage, actually matters in the game. The first one I want to talk about is the big controversy, which is the removal of experience gained. I felt this was an incredibly misleading stat from the start. It had no context, and because it allowed overlap, for example, if 2 heroes were in range to soak 1 minion, both of them will get full experience gained on the chart. And what I mean it lacks context, let's say we're playing on Blackheart's Bay and I'm Illidan, right? And we have an Abathur on our team. Or let's say Lost Vikings. Lost Vikings are always going to soak more. They're going to have the highest XP stat, assuming it's a halfway confident Vikings player that doesn't just group them. However, they could easily have 3 times XP me as Illidan, and I could still provide more overall value to the team. And what I mean by that is, for example, why I use Blackheart's Bay. When I play Illidan on Blackheart's Bay, most people, you run him predominantly as a jungler. Sure, you're in lane until you get a level 4 or 7, most of the time 4, and then you go off and do shit in the jungle. And during that time, you're going to be receiving almost no experience. But there's been plenty of times where I've literally left lane for 3 to 4 minutes, went and got 20, 30 coins off the map, and then went and turned them in. And during that time, sure, somebody was soaking top lane, that was very important, but they actually didn't do much for the team, but they're going to show us a significantly higher experience gain stat. The big problem is Merc camps don't provide much experience, and if you're not around for a lot of kills, your XP gain is going to be really low. There's a lot of times, and especially Blackhearts is the biggest offender of this, where you can have the lowest XP gain in the game and yet be the most impactful player. You were in team fights when it mattered. You might have stopped and so key experience. For example, say a fight's about to happen, you notice you're just a minion away from 10, level 10. You might stop and get that minion, hit 10, and boom, your team wins the fight. But there's no context there. It doesn't show that experience was super, super crucial. And that's what really bothers me about the experience gained. In particular, just jungling, there's no way to represent it. And Roam Squad will always show up low. Despite they might have made every kill possible on the map, they're still going to have lower experience because a kill is not worth, I believe it's worth less or very close to what 1 creep wave is worth. So you could be taking over the map, you could be destroying it, you could be getting tons of kills, and yet you'll still come out as lower when the person that's just soaking really hasn't had that much more impact on the game. The soak he got was important, but it didn't set you up to snowball the game like ganks do. I am super happy XP is being removed. I would like to see it added back with more context to it. And I don't know how you do that. I'm not a developer. I don't know how you say this guy may have had less experience, but his impact was huge. He's the one that got you 10. He got you to final creeps to 13. He grabbed 20 different jungle camps and turned in 40 coins this game. But that Lost Vikings player that's been try-soaking and literally never been with the team will show as being more valuable. I thought it was an incredibly misleading stat. I found it to be useless in almost all scenarios. And I never once looked at a game, hit the experience thing to, filter it, who's got the highest, and went, well, that guy had low experience. That's why we lost this game. Games can be won and lost in soak, but it's not often the key factor. Now let's talk about the removal of takedowns and adding in kills and assists. This one I am in support for, but not quite as much as the XP removed. I think XP removed is great. Kills and assists is a cool addition. One of the common complaints, at least I've heard several times, is it's very, very hard in Heroes of the Storm currently to tell if you're getting better or worse. And that's why you find a lot of players that will get rank 1, and sorry, I kicked my desk. And I'm a great player, I'm rank 1, blah, blah, blah. But like Dustin Brower said, there's this huge variance, and they're on the tail, well, this hand, since you're watching video, they're on the bottom end of rank 1, but they think they're good because it says rank 1. Kills and assists will give you a little more info of how useful you're being. Mind you, in Heroes of the Storm, there is no bonus for killing someone. However, people are somewhat right, and this is why I'm not totally in support of it. People will get toxic over kills. The thing is, and why I'm not against this being added, is those people would likely be toxic in a different way no matter what was there. If kills and assists were gone and it was just back to takedowns, they go, well, look at that hero damage. Oh, you died 4 times. Oh, you weren't around when we fought here. Toxic players will be toxic. You can do things to curb the toxicity, but I don't think adding kills and assists is suddenly going to add a bunch of toxicity to the game. It's a really important stat. It's good to know. And like Dustin Browder did mention on Twitter, one of their most common complaints was assassin players found it very hard to... Ooh, I should stop. Hold on, let me move my feet. Assassin players found it very hard to tell what they were, like how much an impact they had. Sure, I got 20 takedowns, but what does that really mean? My hero damage is sort of low. If you can see you got 12 kills, 5 assists, but your hero damage is low, okay, I'm getting a lot of the finishing blows. That's why my damage is low. The team is bursting the hero to a small percentage, and then I'm finishing them. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a completely acceptable way to play an assassin role. In fact, with Illidan, it's one of his main ways. Wait till people start getting low and go crazy. Meta into them, all that stuff. I don't know how kills and assists will play out, but I don't think it'll be anywhere near as toxic as people think it will be now. And then, they point to League, they point to Dota, chaos, 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 chaos. This is not League and Dota. You get literally no bonus for killing someone over somebody getting an assist. That is not true in other MOBAs that have had this. In other MOBAs, you gained more if you got the kill. If your support stole the kill, that meant less gold to your carry. Now in Heroes, if your support gets the kill, it's the same amount of bonus for your carry. I think initially people will be sort of toxic about it, but if it hits live and they stick with it, within a month or so, people will even forgot they've complained. I don't see it adding a massive amount of toxicity to the game at all. I really was actually confused when people were pretty upset by it. I didn't think it was a big issue to be upset about. So I wanted to just come in and do a Diamond Daily, tell my piece. I know this is a bit shorter than most of them, but I don't want to get here and repeat myself. After I add kills, assists, and remove XP, I would like to see them refine the role tab. I feel like there's a lot of use for that tab that's being missed. And I would like to see them really... I don't know if siege damage actually matters. Like, sure, when there's an Abathur or split pushing, like you see, oh my god, he's done 200,000 siege damage. But since it adds creeps are part of the siege damage, it's a normally inflated number. Actually, my big thing is I think most of the hero scoreboard can be redone because it's useless in its current form. And I'm glad this is a first small step towards making the screen more useful. Again, watch most high-level players when they stream. Most of them will go in. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but I'm hovering it. and they'll click that Show Talents button, and that's all they'll ever sit on the entire game. The stats are mostly seem to be used by new players that don't want to look at the talents tab or don't realize like what impact. This Show Talents button is really where you get the most info. Knowing what talents people have, knowing which ultimates they have. Did Uther take Cleanse at level 7 or did he take the W upgrade? These are big questions. These are game impacting things you need to know, and they're all there. I cannot remember any time in any game looking at this stat screen and using it to analyze and decide how we need to win the game. It's really easy to look and go, oh, guys, we lost that fight because, let me think of a weird alt. Stitches, no, that's a bad one. Because ETC had stage dive. We thought it was a 5v4, but it was actually a 5v5. That's good info. Okay, guys, when ETC is gone, consider him there. He can be there at any time. Never are you going to look at that stats and go, well, ETC's got a lot of experience gain. I think it's a split pushing ETC. No, you can just click Show Talents and see, okay, he's got stage dive. He's split pushing. That's it. Overall, I think the scoreboard needs a lot more work. Like I said, I think it's a great first step. I really don't understand why people are so upset about it. I think there's a little bit of PTSD from the horrendous experiences in League and Dota where, yes, people were incredibly toxic about kills because they got more gold. That's not the case here. My big hope is the community can chill out for a bit, let it hit live. If it's really as bad as everybody says, then we message Blizzard and say, this isn't okay. We need to rework this. Let Blizzard get this out. I have a feeling once it does, it will create a lot more use for players. And at a high level, you'll be able to use it a little bit more, although most high-level players are still just going to sit in the Show Talent screen. Overall, most of these numbers in this game are incredibly misleading, and kills and assists is the first one that, with deaths, is the first one that there's no interpretation. You look, my team has 20 kills, I have 14 kills, 6 assists, and 0 deaths. I have 100% kill participation, and I have 0 deaths. That's good stuff. Takedowns is just a bad stat. Like, I get the concept behind it. I thought it was cool when I first started playing and was like, true bronze and had no clue what was going on in the game. It's like, oh, people can't get mad at me for stealing their kills. And I would come to realize, even 20, 30 games in, it didn't matter. I could steal the kills. I do all the time. When I'm support, when I'm tank, I steal kills for days. Because it doesn't matter. They're going to get that XP. So please let me know what you think about the new scoreboard. I would love to hear more angles on why people are so upset about this. Like, I've read the Reddit threads, I just don't get it. It feels like a bunch of bronze players. No offense if you're bronze, but you're not good. Bunch of bronze players having PTSD from League and Dota. I haven't seen any, that I know of, any high MMR players complaining about this. I definitely know I've seen no pros complaining about this. This is good stats for the game, guys. This is stats that's not open to interpretation. When you have XP gained, there is a lot of interpretation. How much of that was shared experience? How much of that was lane minions? How much was reduced because they were off jungling, making map pressure for the team? How much was reduced because they were doing solo objectives, why the team held the enemy team off? You look in role, yeah, sure, I tanked this much, but what does it mean? All these stats are open to interpretation. These new ones are not, and I love it. I hope there's more clear-cut stats added to the Heroes of the Storm in the future. But again, leave any feedback, comments. I want to hear why you're upset about it. Maybe understand the other perspective. You know, I am the first to admit I have one perspective. I live in a house with pros full-time. I interact with only pros. I'm a high MMR player myself. I've only seen this from the top end, and maybe there's something I'm missing in the middle to bottom end. So thank you for tuning in. This has been the Diamond Daily number 6. Again, it's a little bit shorter one, but we're talking about the new Heroes scoreboard. And make sure and subscribe, like this on YouTube if it's stuff you like, and make sure and check out our sponsor at Alienware.com. They've been fantastic. I'm recording this on a beast of an Alienware computer. And if you would like to follow me, the YouTube channel is one of the main ways, but also I have a Twitter. That's twitter.com/ESVDiamond. Make sure and follow me on there. I'll post any content, any future Diamond Dailies, anything like that. And thanks everyone for watching. Have a great day.